This video covers a revision for the 5 Parle second test, this one on priority of operations, covering calculating a numerical expression with brackets and also writing and solving word problems. Hopefully you've attempted the questions in the PDF that was shared on Google Classroom. If you haven't, pause the video, go and answer the questions first, and then continue with the video to see whether your methods and solutions are correct. So first, let's look at calculating with brackets. Now, you should know your order of operations by now. We do them in the following order. You can see on the box on the right here, we do any brackets, we do first. Then we do indices, which are also known as powers. Then division and multiplication. These are interchangeable, so if you can do division or multiplication next, we normally go from left to right. And addition and subtraction also the last ones, but again, you can swap the order, just normally go from left to right. So the phrase we use here is bidmas. You've also got bedmas, pedmas, and so on. There's so many other different versions of this, but they all do exactly the same thing. Brackets, then indices, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. We're focusing on brackets. So looking at the question here, the first thing that we do is we do the bracket here. We have 80 minus bracket 3 times 2 plus 4. The bracket actually is irrelevant here in a way because multiplication will come before the addition or subtraction. But it's there just to double check, make sure you do this bit first. So some people like to underline them, so let's underline what we're going to do first. We're going to do that thing first. So that changes my sum kind of. I don't change the order of what I write, but I change the order of what I process. So it's 80 minus 3 times 2 is 6, and then I have plus 4. Now addition and subtraction are the last two. We can just go from left to right here. So what I have here, I have 80 minus 6, which is going to be 74. 74 plus 4 is going to be equal to 78. So 78 will be my answer, and that is enough to get you full marks in the question. With the second one, if you notice here, we have curved brackets and square brackets. Square brackets are used often to enclose other brackets. So we do brackets inside of brackets first, and you keep working down that way. So I'm going to need to do this first, process this little thing here. Now, while I'm doing that, I can also look and I can actually deal with this one at the same time because it's not interacting with this thing here. So I'm going to do two steps at the same time. So the bracket at the front, 3 plus 5 is just 8. It has nothing to do with anything else. So I can put multiply, put my square bracket, 10 divided by, and 7 minus 2 is 5, and then I close off my square bracket. So my curved brackets here have become a 5, and this one has just become an 8. So what have I got now? Well, if you look at it, what have I got? I've got 8 multiplied by, do my square bracket, 10 divided by 5, well, that is equal to 2. So this was the next thing that I was doing here. And then 8 times 2 is equal to 16. So my answer there is 16. Now the next one below, we have a fraction. So fractions in a way are like things with brackets in. I have a bracket at the top here, an invisible one here, and I have an invisible one down here. We don't normally write them, but you can consider them in that way. So they are separate to a point. So looking at the top of my fraction, I can just simplify the top of my fraction. 8 times 3 is 24. Now as to the bottom of the fraction, I have an addition and multiplication. Multiplication I must do first. So I do 2 plus 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So it's 2 plus 6. Let's tidy up this. I have 24 still on the top. I have 2 plus 6, which is 8. And 24 divided by 8 is equal to 3. And finally, we have this really complicated looking thing where I have a fraction, I have an addition, I have a couple of sets of brackets, I have another division here. It's a whole bunch of stuff going on. So let's try and break this down. I'll deal with the bottom first because I can just do that. I can do 5 plus 1 is equal to 6. That's easy. Now at the top, I have 2 sets of brackets. In a way, I have a big square bracket around those. You could say, imagine I've got a big square bracket here. I suppose you could also say you've got a little curly bracket there as well. Now, 9 take away 6. 9 take away 6 is equal to 3. Division. Now the other fraction here, I have the other part rather. I have 0.5 multiplied by 6. Well, that's a half of 6, and half of 6 is 3. So I basically on the top here, I have 3 divided by 3, and I have over 6. Well, 3 divided by 3 is just 1. So I have 1 over 6, and that's a fraction. I can leave it in that form. That's nicer than trying to write that down as a decimal. So take a moment maybe to review those 4 questions. If you are stuck on this or anything else in the video, please just drop me a quick message on Google Classroom. Now we move on to inserting brackets into expressions to make them true. So what we mean by this, we have an expression on the left-hand side here. Here we have 3 plus 2 times 4 minus 3. Now in its current state, it does not equal 17. And we want to put brackets in to make it equal 17. Currently what we have here is we have 3 plus, and then that'll be 8, which is 11. Take away 3 is equal to 8 again. So clearly there's an error here, or in this case, a missing pair of brackets. Now there's no set method for this. You just have to try and play around and you start to see where things can go or where things cannot go. Now the correct solution here is this one, putting the brackets around 3 plus 2. Because what do I get then? 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. So I've got 5 multiplied by 4, take away 3. And 5 multiplied by 4 is 20. So I have 20 take away 3, and 20 take away 3 is equal to 17. So that answer must be correct. The next one, we put the brackets around the 3 minus 2. So what we have here is it's 5 multiplied by 3 minus 2 is equal to 1 multiplied by 6. 5 times 1 is 5, times 6 is equal to 30. So again, this is correct. Now the last one, unfortunately, there was an error on the worksheet I sent you. So hopefully you saw the message and corrected it. It should not say 12 here. Sorry, 6 here. It should say 12. So if you haven't already done that, change that and have a go at it. And then come back to the video and see whether you are correct. So with this one, I'm going to change the color to blue. This one has 2 sets of brackets. So it's a very, very tricky one. And what we do is this. We put a bracket around the 12 divided by 2. And we do a square bracket around the bracket and my 10 minus. So what does that give us? Well, we've got to leave the square bracket alone. We do inside that bracket first. So we do 10 minus 12 divided by 2 is 6. Close off my square bracket, multiply it by 3. 10 minus 6 is equal to 4. Multiply that by 3. And 4 times 3 is equal to 12. So finally we get the right answer. So apologies for the error in that, but hopefully you can see how this works. And there probably will be a double bracket question at some point on the paper. So really keep an eye out for these. These are very, very tricky. You might have to play around a little bit before you get to the right answer. If you're still not quite sure about these, please drop me a message on Classroom.